So right now we've taken down a few hundred units. Most of those we're doing a major value add, a forced appreciation component on them. Where we're pivoting very quickly around the corner is going after three large major development deals. Again, we only go after deals that already have plans that are approved. So we're either just taking over a deal where the plans are already entitled and there's just major financial distress and there's an opportunity to come into it before the lender forecloses, before it goes to auction, or some other type of sell-off happens. And so we're getting those things from 30 to 60 cents on the dollar. So
Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Investor Fuel podcast. I'm your host, Michelle Kesil, and today I'm joined by someone I've been looking forward to chatting with, Sean Phalon, who's been making serious moves in the investing space, particularly in the distressed debt market. So excited to have you here today on the show, Sean.
thanks so much, Michelle. Glad to be here.
Awesome. Yeah, I think our listeners are really going to take something away from how you're really merging your knowledge from finance and investing and, yeah, just combining those two expertises that you have. So let's dive into all of that. Yeah. So just first off, for those who are not familiar with you and your world, can you give the short version of what your main focus is and what you're up to?
Yeah, I have a background in real estate financing, in the banking and debt structuring world, and have been doing that for well over a decade. And through that network, have a big network in the distressed debt space. And so that's what we highly focus on, is going after properties that we find that are just a mess. Sometimes the building is in distress, but sometimes the partnership is, or the finances of it, or the process or the place that they're in. And so we typically find properties that are 30 to 60 cents on the dollar as is, that either need a major rehab component or have approvals that are already approved and are just kind of sitting dormant that we're resurrecting. So it cuts down on the timeline. And through that, we're able to give investors back, phenomenal returns, but also get an asset that really needs to be resurrected, right? And be able to deliver, a great product to the community in areas where inventory is really, really needed. And with the background in the finance world and in the debt and the banking world, because of that network, it's been a great advantage to find those deals, be able to source them, and continue to capitalize on them.
Yeah, amazing. And what markets are you operating in?
So it's opportunistic to some extent. Obviously, we don't want to go someplace where we're just completely unfamiliar, or we don't have some really good connections, either from a political or economic standpoint. But I'm here in the New Jersey, New York area. So some of our projects that we're in the middle of taking down right now, a lot of them are down by the Jersey Shore. You have a lot of New Yorkers which with strong economics migrating from the city actually down to the Jersey Shore. It's continued to grow steadily over the past 5 to 7 years.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
And inventory demand is really, really high right now there. And so we're focusing there because there's a lot of these projects available, and we believe that will continue to grow and even stabilize well into whatever's ahead on the economy. And those are all to buy and sell for the most part. We have also 200 other units. Those are in the South. We focused on the Shreveport and the other pseudo Louisiana market and other areas in the South where they're very landlord friendly. Part of that was economics because we were able to get those assets for pretty cheap. Completely different economic structure than up here in the Northeast. But again, we focus on where there's a massive need for inventory, where the local municipalities and the governing authorities are aware of it and are going to put a lot of support, and where there's either a development or a building approval already in place, or there's just a big renovation component. And so we can do a value add. We have the powers that be that want to help us, that want us to be able to complete a project. And it's within that buy box of getting it 30, 60 cents on the dollar. And so we probably wouldn't necessarily go out to like California or Denver or maybe Scottsdale or someplace that we're really not familiar with. But those areas where they're very landlord friendly, there's a major need for inventory, or there's a really strong economic curve with that same type of deal structure and buy box, that's where we're focused.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that's so important to know the types of areas that work best for you. So, what got you into this side of the investing world?
So way back when I was in high school, I used to work for a builder, landscaping, cash, and he was doing flips from the fallout from the market, kind of collapsing. He rode the wave up on all the new construction when things were going really well in the early 2000s, and then he capitalized on all of these undervalued properties coming to market that you could buy at auction, flip and still sell for a good margin. And I remember looking at the market and kind of learning it from being there on site, watching what was happening and thinking, if there's ever an opportunity to do this again, I want to be a part of it. I didn't have maybe $20 to my name back then. And so then I eventually got into real estate financing, and you were on the other side. I was on the financing side, financing what an investor was doing and looking at their returns and looking at the strategies that they had. And so flipped some properties and made some money doing that, and consulted for some larger deals, but I really wanted to be a part of the deal. I really wanted to go after those assets myself. And so over the past few years, as the inflation has gone through the roof, as distressed debt has started now to drip into the market, we figured that this was a really good time to begin pulling in a lot of capital and going after very specific types of asset classes that were going to be quick and that were going to bring inventory to the market. And so, it's been a long time really watching it and being a part of it from a couple different angles in the real estate space, particularly financing it. And now it's from acquisition to raising capital to negotiating to deal structuring and to getting the financing all in one conglomerate. So it's kind of all come full circle.
Yeah, I love that how your, earlier life has pulled you into where you are now. I think that's a really cool story. So what is the key to keeping your business running smoothly? I'm sure there's multiple moving parts to getting everything under control.
Yeah, so it depends upon where you're at. I've my career has really been in scaling teams on the lending side and being able to put dollars on the street. and grow business that way. And so scaling larger teams and, watching processes and procedures is kind of my love language in business, I guess.
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
I always say simplify, structure, and then scale. And so try to translate that here into the real estate investing world. When it's a large project, it's a large renovation, when there's a lot of dollars going a lot of places, I actually think it's really important to find either partnerships or people you can hire to do what you're just not good at. Not to say you couldn't do those tasks, but at the end of the day, if it's going to take many times longer or it's just going to drain the energy out of you and it's taking time away from what actually keeps the business going, which is new deals, which are the attractive part to raise more capital and to continue to keep cash flow going, right? Somebody has to do that. In that case, in my world, that's me, right? And so I want to make sure that I'm giving all of those other tasks as much as I possibly can to somebody who is going to be good at doing them, but also has a much natural tendency to do them than somebody like me. I think that's a very underscored point, and it's very difficult to find. Fortunately, with the couple partnerships that we've had, we've been very fortunate to find some folks who do it. But listen, it's expensive, right? It does take some money, and I think a big aspect that a lot of investors miss, and even folks in business in general, is not budgeting for essentially paying somebody to do what you're not good at doing. Most of us who are pretty successful or who are even doing this are wound up A-type and we think we're awesome at everything. And I think we need that in order to do what we do every day. But I believe it's also really important to recognize that you're not going to be able to do everything. You're not going to be able to do everything well. And the deal itself needs to support somebody or a team or some partnership that can fill in those gaps.
Yeah, definitely. It's so important to know your strengths and knowing that other people might have those strengths in the areas where you're maybe not having the time or the mental capability for. And yeah, finding those partnerships and lightening the load, especially if you plan to expand. So, super important. So, let me ask you this. Where are you most focused on solving or scaling to next in your business?
So right now we've taken down a few hundred units. Most of those we're doing a major value add, a forced appreciation component on them. Where we're pivoting very quickly around the corner is going after three large major development deals. Again, we only go after deals that already have plans that are approved. So we're either just taking over a deal where the plans are already entitled and there's just major financial distress and there's an opportunity to come into it before the lender forecloses, before it goes to auction, or some other type of sell-off happens. And so we're getting those things from 30 to 60 cents on the dollar. So with that being said, we want to go to things that we can take over those assets and we can enact the approvals that are already there rather than just finding a great property, a great location, a piece of land where there's a lot of potential, but now you might add a year and a half on just to get the approvals done. That's not my place I like to play in at all. I think there's enough distressed assets that are already far along enough to take over them where they're at. And that's that very specific niche that we focus on. And so on the math side of it, right, it has to be about 30 to 60 cents on the dollar or less, right? We'll certainly take less. But that's typically where we find it at. Having those approvals ready to go, but also the math has to make sense from a financial standpoint, right? Because we're heavily pushing on capital. We have one deal that we're wrapping up right now. That's going to give our investors 33% annual returns, and it's a 24-month project. Why? Because we're buying the property at 44 cents on the dollar. The buildings are already worth 25 million, and we're buying it for under 11.5. Right. So there's a phenomenal upside to it day one in the purchase, but we're raising capital for that, and then we're raising capital for the other two. So
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
a big focus is the 30 million that we're taking down in capital raising over the next 6 to 7 months so that we can continue to acquire these types of assets, give great returns back to the investor, and really show those small institutions, small to mid-sized family office, high net worth individuals, small funds who are looking to take advantage of this next real estate market, that there are these deals out here, right? It's not just getting your 7 or 8 or 10% or putting money into a REIT or, some other type of a more larger stabilized institutional play, that there are phenomenal deals out there in great locations. You just have to know the people to find them. And that's where we come in. That's where I believe myself in particular, bring the most value to the market, is because we can source these deals. I find them. My network brings them to me. We structure them, negotiate them, and then we put the money together. But you're looking at returns, 2 to 3 times more than the average real estate deal for these investors.
Yeah, amazing. That's such a unique way to scale this business. And when it comes to raising capital, do you guys have certain creative solutions or a certain strategy that you're able to share with the audience?
Yeah, I wish I had a magic formula for it. If I did, I'd be using it. It'd be great. But I think you know, it's an evolving thing, raising capital. I think any investor in any business, let alone real estate or anything else, will tell you that, because one real estate project could require a completely different type of capital source than maybe the previous one you did or the next one. I think that's why it's important to begin to find the right type of deal flow so that you can scale appropriately and your investments are similar, just from a business structuring standpoint, right? And so that's why everything we go after has a very specific component, so we know we can deliver a certain deliverable to the investors at a good return. I think that's something that maybe a lot of investors don't focus on, because there's a lot of good deals out there, but the question is, who's the investor and who's going to plug money into your deal, right? And if you don't have a good structure, a good deal flow, and a consistent type of deal flow for an investor to, especially if you're talking about a small family office, somebody who can cut $5-10 million checks, they're looking for scale. They're looking for things that they can build. They're looking for a really good investment opportunities and ones that aren't just everywhere out on the streets. So you have to really know, if you're asking for what's kind of the secret sauce. I don't know if there is one, but in my world, you really have to know what your capital source is looking for. And most of those entities I just mentioned, they're looking for kind of the under the table deal, behind the curtain, things that most people are not going to see in the market, maybe getting in earlier on a play like distressed debt that kind of really hasn't poured into the economy, but it's starting to drip in. Deals where they're able to get a great return on their money, but there's a certain component that makes the deal go faster than everybody else typically would. It's not just I have to go through approvals and then build it, right? No, it's already entitled. So there's kind of a benefit there that isn't on a regular real estate development deal. So you have to know that they're looking for unique things. They're looking for special places and special opportunities to park their money, and then make sure that your deal actually fits what they want, right? I think it's maybe I'll credit Brandon Turner. We're saying is that if you have a good enough deal, you can always find money for it, right? And
Yeah.
I think where a lot of investors and operators, even like myself, will fall short is finding an asset and a deal that just doesn't work for the investors that they're trying to get money from.
Yeah, can you expand on that? Like, how can someone tell or know what that criteria looks
Right.
like?
So if you're flipping, let's say, five houses, and maybe you're buying all five of them for 700,000 to $1 million, and you're going to sell them for 30 to 40% margin, you could truly raise money by passing the hat for friends, family, wealthier folks, maybe some retirees who can cut you $100,000 check, right? Maybe some money from your own funds. You could piece that together and get those deals done, right? Now, let's say you're looking at a 150 to 200 unit apartment complex that you need to purchase for a couple $1 million, and you need to renovate for a few $1 million. So now you have a major debt component. Now you have a much longer time period. Now people need to be comfortable with not seeing their money for a long time, right? You've got a lot of permits. You've got contractors. It's a very different type of deal. It's a very different type of investment. And then let's talk about like even one of the ones I'm doing right now. We're doing several dozen condos that are already approved on a gutted building or set of buildings that we're taking over for very, very cheap on the dollar here. That's another completely different structure because we need to raise $12 million for it, right? So you're talking three different real estate projects as real estate investing as a whole, but three completely different capital sources that you need, right? You typically can't raise money from $12 million from friends and family. If you can, you got an awesome network, right? Good for you. You know, you should be in capital raising if your friends and family can give you 10 million plus. But typically speaking, you're going to need to go to a family office, ultra high net worth individuals, or you're going to have to engage with somebody who's very well connected to those who can partner up with you, right? So
Yeah.
sometimes it's getting into that proximity. And so those are three different categories of raising money. And you have to know that in order to graduate from a smaller type of deal and keep going up, and I don't say up, everybody has their niches, but if you want to get into higher dollar amounts, you have to make sure that you're prepared to go after the source of capital and you have what they need in order to appetize them to actually invest, right? You're not going to be passing the hat around. You're going to be putting professional decks together. You're going to be putting professional performance together. You're going to be getting third-party validation. You're going to be sitting in front of CIOs, right, and executives who are running multi-million-dollar capital deployments. Very different than sitting down with Uncle Bob, who might have 2 million in the bank and is willing to give you 100 grand, right? So you have to know your audience.
Yeah. Thank you. That's so helpful. I really love that insight. So let me ask you this. When it comes to growing your business and your network and building new relationships, what do you feel is the thing that made the biggest difference for you?
I think having no shame.
Mhm.
And what I mean by that is not being afraid to be embarrassed, not being afraid to try something new and kind of learn as you go. Um, you know, this market that I play in, the distressed property and distressed debt space, is very complex. There is a lot of things on it, even on some deals that we come across. I said, man, I've never seen that before. I don't know, right? I'm going to have to call up one of my buddies who's much more experienced and has a much more sophisticated operation than me and have the humility to call him up and say, hey, listen, I think this is a good deal. And then he looks at it and says, you're not considering X, Y, and Z because I know that market a lot better than you do. And I might look foolish on that phone call, but I'd rather look foolish on a phone call than look foolish losing a lot of money, right? And that's kind of a very rudimentary way to saying it. But I think it's understanding that it's real estate. It's
Yeah.
complicated. If you're doing larger and more complicated projects, or even just a type of property, a type of deal that you haven't done before, a situation you haven't seen, you might walk away with some humility as you get into it, and that's okay. And being not being afraid to network up and tell people, here's what I am trying to do, and here's what I need, and here's the help that I need from you. Can you help me? All right. That can make all the difference in the world. Many times I think people don't leverage the network that is right in front of them or semi-connected to them simply because they don't have the courage or maybe the humility to just simply ask for help and tell people what they're trying to do. They don't want to look embarrassed. They don't want to look foolish. They don't want to look like they're just building something or not established. But at the end of the day, when you ask for the check, people are going to know where you're at anyway, right? So you might as
Yeah.
well be straightforward, honest, and don't be afraid to ask for the help that you need.
Yeah. I love that. That's so important to, yeah. You don't ask, you never get an answer. So
100%.
definitely. Awesome. So, yeah, before we wrap up here, if someone wants to reach out, connect with you, collaborate, or learn more, where's the best place they can find you?
Sure. They can email me. It's Sean, Sean, at Flex Ventures, Plex Ventures.com, Sean at flexventures.com, or hit me up on Instagram. That's Phalon, my last name, PHALONFWD, Phalon Forward.
Awesome. I really appreciate your time, your story, and your perspective. So, thank you for being here.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on, Michelle.
Course. And for those of you tuning into the show, if you got value from this, make sure you've subscribed. We have more conversations with operators just like Sean who are building real businesses. And we'll see you all on our next episode.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.